Geese out at Southwind Country Club.
Large.
Everything.
Yeah, their poo is pretty nasty.
Now, I always try to be quiet when they're sleeping. but-
Yeah, they're,
They've had their share of battles in the HOA out
I
there.
gave them options when they moved back. They have 3 weeks.
Like lifelong enemies as a result of theirs now.
He moved that one to divorce, so they got it.
Good Lord.
Our HOA is just so agreeable and they're,
Sold their house.
I don't know, they're just real reasonable
Oh,
people.
yeah?
Well,
We
you got a
don't-
little more
but we all have-
space by and large.
Yeah,
That makes a
that
difference.
probably
He thinks
helps,
he-
yeah.
How many in your
Good
HOA?
pay child support.
What's that?
How many in your HOA do they?
It's 7:30.
That scared me.
We will Scared her too. begin the meeting. We had to shut off all the side conversations. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call the meeting to order. Hopefully you've all read your consent agenda. Lana sent out a couple of different emails for that. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
It's been moved. Second. And seconded. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. No public. Okay, Lana, you're up.
All right, good morning. Prospect 825, this is a regional restaurant chain that we've had a couple of conversations with, sent them some sites that would work and some layouts that would work for their particular restaurant. And they're hoping to visit the community in the next couple of weeks to take a look at those sites. And they've had a couple of conversations with landowners and other developers in town already as well. 725 is an agricultural business. This is a large project. They had a pretty significant acreage demand and water demand. We did find a couple of sites that could be put together for them and sent that off for their review. We'll see if we hear back from it. It would be a challenge, but certainly we will help them if we can find the proper location for them. Other projects that are moving, the MIH ARPA project, which is the apartments on Palace Drive. Those apartments should break ground within the next month. They have gotten all of their documents submitted through KHRC and through the City of Garden City, so now just finalizing their building permits and their RHID process, but things are going well there. The general contractor on that is from Iowa. They will be in town on Thursday doing some interviews for some local subcontractors, and we'll be utilizing our office on Thursday morning to have some of those meetings, so we freed up space for that. On Icon Cinema, this project, we've put them on hold for a bit while we waited for the kind of global traffic impact study that the city was conducting for that entire Northeast region. At last week's pre-meeting for the City Commission, they went through that traffic study. So that global study is now completed, and it gives us some ideas of, based on what we believe all of the projects are going to look like out there, what kind of improvements will be necessary in order to handle traffic flows. So now we can continue moving forward with this project, as well as a couple of the adjacent projects that hopefully we can spread that traffic impact cost instead of putting all of that on the one user. The Icon Cinema project was going to carry a lot of infrastructure weight as it was, just simply because it's the first project across over onto that property, so they were going to be bringing everything, city, water and wastewater, electric, natural gas. They would have been responsible for all of that, plus the cost of roadway improvements. We judged it best, since we knew there were other projects that were underway over there, we judged it best to slow them a little bit so that the other projects could get somewhat caught up to them and hopefully spread that cost. City did get notified that one of the low-income housing tax credit projects that we had been working with and did a lot of work with over the past few months was approved by the state for those tax credits. So that project is now moving forward. And in Holcomb, the project over on the Pappas Ag ground, not the old Pappas concrete plant, but the Pappas Ag property that was just east of the city limits, now incorporated into the city limits. That project continues to move forward, and we're helping with conducting meetings with those developers and the city on the RHID process, as well as just the standard development project. Other than that, we do have a new housing development looking out in the county. We've met with them, with the developers twice, and then met with the county's planning staff and utilities that would be engaged in it. It would require the full gamut. It would require a rezone, addition to the RHID by the Secretary of Commerce, as well as the local RHID, and platting, all of it. So it is truly greenfield expansion. So we've been through that entire process with them, explained how it'll all work, and they're working now on the numbers to make sure that the project works for them. If so, hopefully we'll get them to move forward. Lots of meetings in August. It was a very, very busy month. We were invited to participate, Matt Allen, Ryan Ruda from the college, and myself were invited to participate in the new St. Catherine Hospital CEO interviews. We did 2 of those in 1 week and then followed up with a third candidate last week. We were very impressed by the quality of the candidates that they've had apply for that, and very pleased with their connections to the region and their understanding of the surrounding area, the rural nature of the hospitals that are in the area. They were very impressive candidates, so we'll continue to work with them through that process. And then did in our regular monthly meeting with the current CEO, found out that they have hired a new foundation director for fundraising and such. So we reached out yesterday and set up a discussion with her. So we'll be meeting with her in September and see if there's ways we can help the hospital to find ways that they can get re-engaged with the community. I think everybody is in agreement that the previous structure has really left them discombobulated somewhat. Some of that was a result certainly of COVID and the fact that healthcare just ended up kind of on an island everywhere because of the pandemic. But and they would agree, it's definitely time to get back into the community. They see the importance of the community knowing what's going on and being a partner to them. So hopefully we'll see positive things come of that going forward. And we did do a tour of Empirical with Senator Marshall earlier this month. It was very good. We talked about that, and I think they're looking now at doing spring for actual tours. They intend to be open in the fourth quarter and operational, but would like to wait for the official opening and the official elected tours after they're operational. They want everybody to see the process and how it works. So, but they're getting very close. They're very excited, and it is a beautiful facility. So you'll get to hear some additional information that we were able to glean from that tour, and that Shannon was able to put together with some of our implant. If you remember, we signed up for the economic impact data service called implant, and so Shannon is going to share some of that with you here in a little bit. I think you guys will enjoy it. This month, again, going to be a pretty busy month. I was asked to do a Real Men, Real Leaders podcast, so if any of you have ever listened to those, I haven't listened to any of them yet, but I'll be recording one of those this afternoon. Certainly when it's available, I'll let you know where you can listen to that. I'll try to say nice things about you guys. In addition to that, USD 457 has put together a couple of discussions. They had one a few weeks ago talking about pre-enrollment numbers, so not knowing for sure what their enrollment census was going to look like. We had a conversation. They've just had heard some challenges that there might have been folks who had been separated from some of our large employers, and they weren't sure how that was going to impact their enrollment going forward. We've got a follow-up meeting set with them for Friday morning, since those official numbers are in now, and we'll get an idea of where we're at with that. And there will be a joint city-county meeting on September 16th prior to the City Commission meeting. So certainly if you're available, they would love to have you there to listen in on that. And I will be at CREDA, Western Kansas Rural Economic Development Alliance, in Colby next week. September is always our legislative forum, where we hear from the western half of the state's legislators, and I lead those discussions and act as moderator, so I'll be there next Wednesday and Thursday. And I believe that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
I have a question for Empirical. Are they still looking at 300 people,
Yeah, they think to get started, they can get by with 200 to 250 to start production, but at full production, they anticipate 300 direct employees. And Shannon, again, will talk about the direct employees and the indirect and induced that we've already been able to identify in relation to the project.
Good.
Yep. And they are about 150 short of their opening employment, but they've had very good success in recruitment and feel confident they'll be able to attract that workforce.
Any other questions for Lana? Okay, thank you, Lana. Next up, Steve Cottrell, Special Projects Director.
It's Peach Day. Pas de crème day, which is French for pots of cream. Just because.
Just because.
Just because. Lottery day, so it's 777 million, so go buy tickets. Crab soup.
Oh, I could go for that.
And LBJ day.
That's kind of interesting.
Okay, so we have one RFP from the Department of Commerce, which we did not submit. They only needed 1,000 acres and 200 people. So, okay, I don't know why I have July 15th on the City Commission. It was just yesterday. On the 5th, they had nothing of import. But they approved a resolution for bond sale for Sports of the World Phase 2. Designated Sand Stage Square, which is formerly 2 Buttes. Phase 1 is an RHID. Approved a replat of Orozco's 2nd edition. And received a KDOT grant for reconstruction of Fulton between 3rd and Washington. County Commission adopted a resolution concerning the 182-cent sales tax election, half cent. And then heard an update from Lana Monday morning. Worked on a Starbond plan, west side, north side, and mini home residential. It says 7,326 lots, but I'm somewhere pushing 42,000. Thompson Point, which Lana referenced, is out in the county. So. Questions?
Questions for Steve? Thank you, Steve. Next up, Scott Ost, Communications Director.
Thank you. Website, we had about 2,400 views, which was up quite a bit from the previous month. Top things people looked at were Icon Cinema, so people are probably wondering what's going on with that. Red Dog Children's Museum, the college's crop production program, they're working with NASA on a course, I think, and a Mercer Gallery exhibit. Facebook was up 6,400 post views. Top posts were an alumni spotlight for the college for Angelica Castillo Chapel. Derek Ramos named the new county administrator, playground at the zoo, and the college's partnership with Kerman Homes. And on Twitter, the alumni spotlight, Mercer exhibit, and Western Kansas Community Foundation was accepting board applications. That's all I have as far as social media, if somebody has any questions.
Questions for Scott?
Scott did also get the relocation guide updated, so he'll be uploading the new version of the relocation guide up to the website. If you haven't ever looked at that, it's a really incredible tool, but it is a huge undertaking to keep it current. It lists all of the community services, churches, restaurants, hotels, pretty much everything. It's the yellow pages of Garden City. So it was a big undertaking, and we really appreciate him getting that done. I should mention also that the city, or the county rather, received their RAWS videos. So they had gotten a grant from the Department of Commerce to advertise, promote their rural opportunity zone status, and they had $10,000. The previous administrator just turned that money over to the Chamber of Commerce to contract for some videos, which they did, and they received 3 videos. I don't know what the videos actually cost, but they got those videos. They're very well done, very nice. Collins from Liberal, originally from Liberal, did those videos, and they really are very nice. So we worked with the county's new communications director, who's housed in the clerk's office, the county clerk's office, and helped her come up with a marketing strategy to get those videos out and get them seen. So the cool thing is, between the relocation guide and those new videos, those can kind of go together to really help get the word out about the community and hopefully attract some new workers to the region. So.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Next up, Grant Winterberg, Business Development.
Good morning. Client 3252, waiting to hear back what location they have in mind for downtown for the business. Client 82501, this client's currently selling food in a location that is probably not allowed. My person to reach out to the city's clerk office, find out what locations would be acceptable for them. They're also interested in expanding their business, and I will work with them on their business plan to do so. Client 8252, this client has an existing business in Holcomb and is looking for help with capital purchase equipment. I'm still waiting for an initial meeting to discuss further with that client. Client 8253, this client is looking to open a business that currently has few competitors in our market. They're looking to service the southwest area of Kansas. I'm assisting and helping them start their LLC, acquire correct state licensing, and create a pricing and marketing strategy. Client 8254, I'm scheduled to meet with them tomorrow. And then I put an upcoming resource on here. Network Kansas has spoke highly of Foodpreneurs Boot Camp, which is a 6-week online course. So I'm trying to get that in front of any clients that are needing some extra help with starting a food truck or starting a business, a restaurant in general. So, and there is an early bird pricing sign up for September 1st to be a little bit cheaper. So yeah, that's what I have for them.
The food service
Yeah.
company. did you contact them about the location, or did they come to you first?
So that's mainly through Network Kansas. They sent that my way.
No, he's asking about the gentleman who was, who didn't have an itinerant license or anything. He came in.
Yeah, he came.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was operating in the wrong location.
Yeah. We didn't go seek him out.
Okay.
He came in to visit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not enforcement.
Okay. That's what I was checking.
Okay, questions for Grant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Shannon Dick, Director of Analytics.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Hope you like numbers.
Love numbers. Big numbers.
Yeah, well, these are big numbers. Yeah, so we're gonna look at like Ron said with the M-Plan. We have the tools to be able to do these sorts of things, all sorts of things. The more I use it, the more I know that when KDOT uses it, they're not using it right. But, so we do have to take some assumptions because we're talking about a place that's going to be open soon. What we're looking at is our output of our plant here will be only 50% of the total output that they currently have, which we're not really sure about that. It could be higher, especially when they get everything ramped up, but I'm only going to take 50% of the current output. We're starting with that bare bones employment numbers of 200 with their initial cost of 60,000. If you look in the industry, that's a fairly low number for an average salary of an employee in this, but we're taking it on the low side. Using just the current wholesale pricing and considering only the products that's lean ground beef and tallow. So we're not looking at any of their like improved quality steaks or anything like that. We're assuming that no direct profits stay in the community, which is, I would say it's not realistic, but it does reduce the impact. I'm trying not to overestimate the impact. So that's saying that everything that they sell here, they're not going to invest a dime of anything that they actually make for the company. That's all leaving the community, which what we've seen that Purple's been a really good community partner. So that's not realistic, but we're also not including any of that money recirculating from them directly here. And then we just have to keep in mind that this is M-Plan, which is really talking about how correlations work between different industries, broad assumptions of everybody who's in this. The first thing is just looking at the total industry's impact, and this is just the top 10 and what the value they're going to be bringing to the community is. This is looking, I combined everything just so there wasn't so many numbers. I combined direct, indirect, and induced all together. Remember, direct is the company itself, was in this case Empirical doing. Indirect is one of those the things that are going directly into that. So like, what is the impact for Tyson? What is the impact for trucking? And the induced is, well, now that we have these extra jobs, we have these extra trucks, what's the impact that we have on teachers or hospitals and that kind of stuff? So that's what direct, indirect, and induced means. I just combine them all together. So obviously the top impact is going to be rendering meat by product processing, which is what Empirical falls into. So that's the impact. That's $642 million a year, almost $643 million a year. We should see about a $44 million bump in truck transportation, about $8 million in other animal food manufacturing, $4 million in power transmission, and so forth. Almost $3 million bump in hospitals. The other thing that I have is I've limited this to impact of just Finney County. So this is just what we should see locally. There would be bleed over. And some of these things, like if we're looking at petroleum refineries, I don't think we have capacity for $3.6 million of petroleum refinery capacity here. So some of this, even though it's limited to Finney County, I think some of this is still going to be talking about other things if we just don't have the capacity to handle that sort of industry that's tied to it. So banking, $2 million, and that's just the top 10. There's a whole bunch more. So the overall annual impact at the get-go for Empirical for our community is about $755 million. So I mean, we're $750 million, which is pretty good. We were just looking at our GDP the other day in Lana's office, and do you remember? I should just do this again since we have a different board. When I had those boxes that I brought, I'm not going to say more than that. I'm just going to do that presentation again.
It's a fun presentation.
Yeah. I had it in my, if you ever come to my office, there's like stacks of boxes. Okay, I'll bring them next time. Okay, so we'll just talk about what this kind of money looks like. Jobs impacted. Again, this is direct, indirect, and induced. Obviously, the biggest one is the 200 directly going to empirical, but that looks like we're going to have also close to that many in trucking that's going to be brought in because of that warehouse. 12 more hospital employees, services to buildings, limited service restaurants, another 8 banking employees, and there's a lot more. You can definitely see that total impact, like we've been saying all along, we're talking 663 at the very beginning, and only 200 of those are coming from the direct business itself. So you can say there's a big long tail of what jobs are going to be impacted. What kind of employee compensation we can expect? So directly at the beginning, from empirical, about $12 million. Truck transportation will have about $9 million. Hospitals, $1.5 million in employee compensation from this project, and then so forth. $500,000 in banking, power transmission, $450,000. Natural gas distribution, $400,000. So some good impacts of $35 million in additional wages being paid out in Finney County from the different businesses impacted, which is a good number. And then proprietor income, so if you're a business owner in any of these, here's how much more business. So maybe your proprietor income is stuff after you pay out your wages and everything, what else is left for profit. Good time if you want to get into trucking. If you know anybody who wants to get into trucking, it's a good time. Also commercial, industrial machinery, leasing and repair. You got about $600,000, about $600,000 in there. Real estate is up there, and so forth. So about $17 million in profit for proprietors that's going to be coming in with this. Another important thing that we need to think about when we're bringing these things in is the projected tax impact. So if you go look at all the different things, this includes everything. This includes the projected sales tax increases and property tax increases and all the other things that go into all the different revenues and streams. If you go into this, there's just like a whole report of all the different pieces, but this is just one number for each of these. So looks like about another $11 million bump for federal government taxes that will be contributing, about $5.5 million to the state, about $1.3 million to the county. And then they have sub-county, so city, community college, school districts. They have the city broken out, but then they don't have the milling entities broken out separately, so I just combined everything smaller than the county together. And so that bump to those sub-county entities, community college, school district, city together is about $2 million a year from the projected increase in business for bringing in equipment. So pretty good numbers there. And then just a summary, if there's just a way to remember all these things easily. Employment total looks like 663, labor income $52 million, value added is at $78 million, and then the total output is 755. So there's one slide that you want to remember, it's that one. Any questions? I mean, it's nothing too special, it's just kind of all that stuff. I mean, learning how the M-Plan works. Again, it really is, there's some limited things that work for projects like this that doesn't work for the impact of a highway because it's only calculating how much it costs to build a highway, not actually an impact of a highway that KDOT does. So, are you going to bring up the front?
Yeah, I was going to bring up the...
What kind of truck traffic are we talking about? How many trucks a day?
Oh, dude, I believe they were talking 100 a day. Were they not?
I don't remember what their traffic impact study said now.
Because we were dividing.
It seems like it was
between-
80 to 100.
Yeah, then it's divided between the different directions, depending where their collection sites are at. Trucking out of the product, a lot of that's rail out.
Yeah, so most of it is incoming.
It's just it's incoming, dropping up, and then they have to actually go back.
Somewhere else.
So yeah, so the trucking side is the gathering of the pieces from the packing plants to drop off the raw product and go back.
And the ground beef will initially go out in trucks. It won't go out rail. No. The tallow, it does go out on the rail. Yes.
How far are they trucking stuff in, or where's it coming from? Do you know?
They're collecting from Amarillo, one plant in Dodge, the Liberal plant. There's 5 or 6
They're coming
at least.
from north too. I If you go look at this, say how on each of the highways, I mean, they actually label out how many, like 60 along coming in from the east and stuff like that. So we can go and see what that direct traffic impact is. So there'll be more trucks. We won't notice it because we already have so many trucks on there. KDOT won't notice it because they don't recognize that trucks make a difference. So, but yeah, Bonnie's got this.
So this is that gross domestic product. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank, but just showing you, if we go back to one of the benchmarks we use a lot is 2010, so 1.9 million, and then when we go to 2022, that's at 2.3, so pretty significant. But if you go back to when they're looking at it here, it's a significant bump. So
Empirical should have a pretty good bump on this as well.
So it'll be interesting. We're gonna enjoy getting to test in-plan a little bit and see if we can see those numbers, as they relate to the overall GDP.
I have a question. Does Empirical have a partnership, kind of like DFA did with a Meese & Sons type of
No, trucking company-wise?
company?
No, they utilize pretty much anybody and everybody.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to give a shout out to Meese & Sons. I think they've done a fantastic job, and I know several people who work for them. They're an amazing employer, and they've been a significant, actually a pretty exciting addition to our community. So
Absolutely.
I think they've done a
Yep.
great job. As of course has DFA, but I just think the trucking part of it was pretty significant. The challenge I think that we will face and continue to face is where are we going to put these trucks? That's why I'm kind of wondering about that. If you have a company with all these trucks, they have the grounds, they keep the trucks there. Otherwise, you have owner-operators, which I don't have anything against owner-operators. I think we absolutely need them as well. But if we're going to continue to grow that base, we're going to have to figure out where they can put their trucks.
Yep.
That's been facing the county for a while now.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of conversations with different landowners about, the potential of creating off-site truck parking. With land costs where they are, that can be challenging for sure. But for anybody who doesn't know why that's such a big issue here is because we have countywide zoning. Many of the rural communities do not enforce countywide zoning, don't even have regulations in place. So it's not a big deal. If you purchase a place out in the county, you park your truck beside your house and you go in and get in it every morning, go to work. But in Finney County, because they put countywide zoning in place, there are rules against that. So trucks being parked at your residence are limited by the particular type of zoning classification that you're under. And it does absolutely create a hindrance. We've had folks who have chosen to locate in other surrounding counties where they can avoid that, and they still serve the Garden City area, which is great. Honestly, we love to give that support out to those rural communities around us. But to Vicki's point, as we continue to grow the transportation and logistics sector here, we do have to be mindful of making sure that we have space for folks to operate that type of business. The trucking industry should not be treated any differently than any other business. They are absolutely economic engines, pardon the pun, in the community. So we do need to ensure that we're taking care of them just like we would a restaurant or a retail store or a manufacturer. So we continue to work with that and have conversations with the county related to how they are treated, if you will, from the zoning perspective.
many other empirical plants are there?
There's one other actual production plant, and that's the plant that's actually in Nebraska. Corporate offices are in the Dakotas. The production plant is in Nebraska, and then they have operations in Iowa, and it's about a 20-minute drive between all of them. They're right there where the 3 states come together. So, but the facility itself is actually in Nebraska, attached to the Tyson plant there, the way ours used to be attached. So they'll continue to have their collections facility at the Tyson plant, and then the production plant here within the community will serve multiple harvest houses, if you will.
So they are closing the facility at Tyson? Because I thought.
They are not
Okay, they're-
closing the facility at Tyson. They will continue to have collections. We'll be really, really clear. They will continue to operate
Okay, so-
the collections at the Tyson
So what
facility.
they're doing at Tyson is different than what they're doing at this
They do
plant?
not do production at the Tyson plant in Holcomb, no. The Tyson plant that they're connected to in Nebraska, they absolutely do production at. Yes, they do not do production of lean ground beef at this facility. They do collections.
Okay, I was misunderstood. I always thought they were doing basically the same thing, but,
No.
okay.
No, this production facility will take up all of those collections that they do in this region. Mhm.
Any other questions for Shannon? Thank you, Shannon. Okay, new business. Consideration of regular board meeting.
Well, we would hate to not get our holiday schedule set. Because, you know, if the stores have out the Christmas trees, we've got to be talking about it too. So, we do have November and December meetings on the horizon. And I like to give you guys plenty of time to plan for that so you get them on your calendar. Traditionally, we have moved both the November and December meetings up 1 week. That would put the November meeting on the 19th. And the December meeting would be on the 17th.
The only thing I see that would conflict with the chamber breakfast.
Yes, it always does.
Yeah, which I try to attend as a county commissioner, but
Both dates work for me. Works for me.
Okay. Would somebody like to make the motion to move the regularly scheduled board meetings up 1 week in November and in December?
I'll make that motion to move those meetings a week earlier.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to move the meetings to the discussed dates. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Old business. None?
There is none.
Upcoming events? Lots. We have a need for an executive session, is that right?
We do. I would anticipate 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And it is for the purposes of client confidentiality.
Do we have a motion to?
I'll move that we adjourn to executive session for purposes of client confidentiality for 1 hour.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for 1 hour. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We don't anticipate there'll be any action after that.
Thank you, staff.
Thank you.
There we go.
See you.